Okay, so in this video I'm going to let you into the process of how I do some different types of design work. Recently had a customer that wanted in Chinese writing a phrase to be in their design. Um, and the phrase is remember to live in Chinese. So what I do is I go to Google and type in the phrase and then just put in Chinese. And then you can see it's got an image of the lettering and stuff there. Of course, that's really small. So on a Windows, if you hold down Control and then just scroll up with your mouse wheel, you can make it larger. So that's about as large as it is. We'll deselect it. So if I want to save this, it's like text, so it's not an image I can save. What I do is I press the Windows, Shift, and S, and that allows me to do a screen cap around that. And so once I have that, I can paste that into the document. This is a full-size image, and that image would be really small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upsize it a little bit. So I'm going to go to New in Photoshop, and it's going to default to be the size of the clipboard. So that's the image you just saved. And there's that. Now I want this to be larger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the image size. And I'm just going to look at the pixels here. Let's bump this up to like 2000 pixels wide maybe. That's good. Now when you do that, you can see it's a little bit fuzzy. That's kind of okay. Actually, there's another hack you can do as well too. Let's bump it up to maybe like, let's just export it the size that it is. I want to show you another software that I got. So let's save it. The size that it is 548 pixels. So I'm just going to save that into the folder for this work file. There we go. And we'll just call this Remember to Live. There we go. And so now we can close this out. We're no longer needing it. There's another software that I commonly use. It's called Topaz Gigapixel. So all you do is just find the folder where you saved your image and just drag this in here. So Gigapixel takes low resolution images with pixelation and it turns it into a high res image. So you can see it kind of cleaned up the lines there. You can preview this by just grabbing it and moving it around. You can see that it's highly pixelated and then it just renders it out there. So that looks pretty good. They've got some different presets here that'll change some of the settings. We can look at those too and see if any of them look a little bit better. Sorry that my phone keeps going off. There's that one, and there's also very compressed. All right, so I don't like how it had the green in around there. I kind of want to do a clean line for the text. I think this standard one kind of works the best. So you can change how large it's making it. Obviously 3200 pixels is kind of wide. Let's go down to 4 times and then we'll save it. Okay, so we can close out Gigapixel AI, and now we can just drag this into the document. We're going to place linked, and we'll go to the file, and you can see it adds a 6x scale, so you can see. Oops, that's the wrong one. What we want to do is, it's this one right here, the Remember to Live. So you can see that's in there, and it's pretty crisp if we zoom in. Now it looks very plain. This is kind of like the Chinese version of the Arial type or something. So if we had some like natural looking strokes to that, it may kind of look better for the design. And I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to do some stylized strokes over top of this kind of plain stroke in Photoshop. So I'm using a Wacom One tablet, and I think it's like a 13-inch tablet. It's a little small to have a lot of these menus here, but I'm including them for this video. Normally what I would do is I would take this Photoshop instance and I would have it above this tablet, so like on my main monitor, and then I would break away this window here and drag that down to my Wacom tablet, but or I could do it like that. But the thing is, I may do that for this video, but the thing is I wanted to show you some of the things that the fly out menus and stuff in Photoshop too. So I've got a brush here, and it's set up pretty decent. It's just a pressure brush. I can show you some of the settings here. If we go to the brush settings, you can see it's pen pressure is applied to the size. It's got smoothing applied, and another thing too is the brush shape is offset a little bit with the angle, and it's also skewed. So that gets you kind of in the range. A lot of times I'll do kind of sketches, so the transfer is controlled by pen pressure. So that means if I draw lighter, it's semi-transparent. So with this kind of inking, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to undo a couple times here. I want my minimum pen pressure to be totally opaque. So now you can see it's, no matter if I draw light, it's still over it. So that looks pretty good. So now, and I've just got it red so I can draw over this black and I can see what I'm doing. So I've got a new layer created here, and I'm ready to just start inking in the lettering. It doesn't have to be too precise. And so I've got something going on here. I need to drag my layer above this hue saturation layer that's changing the color of my stroke there. And obviously I'm not trained in Japanese writing calligraphy, so there may be some things I'm doing with the strokes that's incorrect, but the main thing I'm going for here is I do want it to look more organic rather than having this real blocky kind of look to it. So just something like that. And I really like this Wacom One tablet. I had an iPad Pro. It's been given to my son. The thing working out with big Photoshop documents on iPad is you can kind of do it, but there's so many hoops you got to jump through, and you can't just jump in and out of the application with these big files. I'd have to do this separately. Then I could airdrop it to myself. So sometimes it just doesn't really work out to do it that way. The best workflow is for it to be attached, for me at least, to be attached to your workstation. And of course they make different ones where the glass is etched and it's touch screen and all that, but it's so easy to just have a keyboard beside your Wacom One because it's so small, and then just use hotkeys. You can see I'm doing undo. I'm also pressing the tilde button and just switching my brush to be an eraser, and you can undo and redo things. So it's not hard at all. Another thing too that kind of throws people off is if you want one of the higher end ones or an iPad where you have the pinch and zoom and scroll capability like multi-touch. If I'm got a mouse right beside my screen, I can zoom in very easily, and then if I press the space bar, I can navigate it easily. So if it was a big file, I needed to kind of zoom in and go left and right or zoom out, it's very easy to navigate this drawing tablet without it being pinch and zoom. And then a lot of artists, they despise the pinch and zoom feature on these pads. Touch capability, because the palm rejection can be an issue, and most of the time you really don't need to be touching it. Like I said, you can do a lot of navigation without it. So there's that. Let's it looks pretty good. I mean, we maybe could add a little bit more weight to maybe a place right here, and maybe right there. Clean that up. I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to show you this tip.